Let's dive right in and talk about the single biggest reason why most YouTube videos, well, they just don't work. And look, it's probably not what you think. It's not the fancy editing, it's not the thumbnail, it all comes down to the script. So today, we are breaking down how to write scripts that not only grab viewers from the very first second, but also speak the language of the YouTube algorithm.
So, let's ask that big question right up front. Why do most YouTube videos fail? I mean, even the ones with fantastic ideas and really slick production. The answer, honestly, it's kind of brutal. And it all boils down to one single, devastating number.
50%. Just let that number hang in the air for a second. It represents a massive, massive cliff that most creators just fall right off of without even realizing it. 50% of what, you ask? Well, let's take a look. That's the reality. 50% of your potential audience is gone within the first 30 seconds. That initial drop-off is the single biggest wall standing between you and channel growth. Seriously, if you can't survive those first 30 seconds, your video becomes basically invisible to the YouTube algorithm. And that brings us to the core of the problem, right? To really succeed on YouTube, you have to understand you're not just making videos for people, you're also making them for the algorithm. And that algorithm, it has a very specific language it understands, and it rewards the creators who speak it fluently.
And this is it. This is the heart of the matter. At the end of the day, the algorithm really only wants one thing: to keep people on the platform watching. It doesn't just care if your information is correct, it cares if it's engaging. The equation is super simple. The more watch time you generate, the more your video gets promoted.
So this kind of breaks down the two different mindsets. You see, most creators start over here in this lecture-style mode. Their main focus is just delivering information. But the result? That huge drop-off we talked about, which sends a low-value signal to the algorithm. The goal is to shift your entire thinking over to a retention-focused script. Here, the absolute top priority is keeping the viewer locked in, which sends a powerful high-value signal, getting your video pushed out to a much wider audience. Okay, so how do we actually build one of these retention-focused scripts? Is there a secret formula? Well, kind of. There's a blueprint for it. A really simple but powerful framework designed specifically to beat that 30-second cliff and keep your viewers hooked all the way to the end. And here it is, the retention script blueprint. Now, it might look simple, but don't let that fool you. This 5-step structure is incredibly powerful. First, you've got the hook. That's to survive the 30-second drop-off. Then the preview, where you tell them exactly why they need to keep watching. Next, you deliver the value you promised. You recap the key points so they actually remember it. And finally, you finish with a clear call to action to tell them what to do next. You see, it's a complete, satisfying journey for the viewer. Now, once you really understand that blueprint, you immediately start to see the common mistakes, the traps that absolutely kill retention. So let's walk through the 3 biggest scripting traps that so many creators fall right into. All right, first up, and this is the big one, the weak opening. This is ground zero for that 50% drop-off. You literally have seconds, not minutes, to convince a viewer that your video is worth their time. Most creators just completely waste this golden window.
We've all seen them, right? The long, rambling intros, the "hey guys, what's up?", the 5-second logo animation, all of it just kills your momentum. The fix is actually super simple. Get straight to the point. In the first 15 seconds, you need to tell the viewer exactly what's in it for them. No fluff, just pure, immediate value. Okay, so you've hooked them. Awesome, but you can still easily lose them right in the middle of the video. And that brings us to the second huge trap: poor content pacing.
The problem here is a monotonous, predictable delivery. It's like a boring lecture. It literally puts the viewer's brain to sleep. The solution is to get strategic with your pacing. You got to use what are called pattern interrupts, a quick visual change, a sudden question to the audience, maybe a shift in your tone of voice. These are like little jolts of energy that constantly re-engage their attention and keep them on their toes.
And finally, we get to the end of the video. Now, this third trap is a sneaky one that sabotages your channel's long-term growth, having no clear call to action, or a really weak one.
Here's the problem. You've just delivered all this incredible value, and then you just leave the viewer at a dead end. The solution is to make the next step totally obvious and genuinely helpful. So if your video was about, say, 5 tips for better sleep, your CTA could be, hey, if you want to go even deeper on this, check out my video on the science of sleep next. You see? You make it a logical, valuable next step, not just begging them to smash that like button.
So what happens when you nail all of this? When you get the hook right, you master the pacing, and you guide the viewer with a really clear CTA, what's the actual payoff? Well, it's this powerful feedback loop that creates real, sustainable channel growth.
You gotta understand, strong retention is the most powerful signal you can possibly send to the YouTube algorithm. When it sees people are watching your videos all the way through, it starts showing them to more and more and more people. This directly leads to higher search rankings, way more subscribers, and of course, a much faster path to monetization.
Now, let's put a real number on that subscriber conversion, because the difference here is it's just dramatic. We're not talking about a small little bump. We are talking about a serious, game-changing multiplier.
That's right. A video with a retention-focused script converts 6 times more viewers into subscribers than a poorly structured one. I mean, that is literally the difference between a channel that's totally stagnant and one that experiences exponential growth. It all comes back to the script.
And really, this quote just sums it all up perfectly. Success on YouTube isn't just about giving out information. It's about packaging that information in a way that respects the viewer's time and keeps them watching. It's about turning a simple script into an actual experience.
So as we wrap this explainer up, I really want to leave you with this one question to think about for your own content. When you sit down to write, are you just creating an outline of facts, or are you consciously crafting an experience, one that's designed to hold a real person's attention from that very first second to the absolute last? The answer to that question will define your channel's future.